Hi everybody and welcome to Tea Tuesday. I'd like to thank Life with Patty and Kathy's Favorite Thing for hosting this collab. This is an open collab. You can have hot tea, cold tea, or a beverage of your choice. That's right, a beverage of your choice. You post on Tuesday, use lowercase letters, use the hashtag Tea Tuesday. We'd love to have you. I'll put it in my description box below so you will have it. So you can do crafts, you can talk, you can do whatever you would like during Tea Tuesday. I am starting a new book. It's called Home to Heather Creek, Giving Thanks, Christina Eckhart. And we're doing the first chapter maybe, or we're going to read for a while. I hope you'll like this book. Let's see. It says something to be thankful for. I will read the back. There's nothing in the front. Oh, let me see here. I can't use that phone. Oh, I can't get it. Okay, it says, Thanksgiving's right around the corner and excitement's in the air. Pete and Dana's wedding is on the horizon, and Pete is making all kinds of changes in his life. While he's busy redecorating his apartment for his new bride, Christopher is organizing a can drive at school and gets so wrapped up collecting the most cans that he forgets all about helping the needy. His drive to win leads the Stevenson's family to a valuable lesson about honesty. Meanwhile, Sam is intent on winning a soccer scholarship to college, no matter how likely, and Emily's feeling a little bit left out when her best friend Ashley starts hanging out with a boy and no longer has time for her. But when a fire breaks out in the tractor shed, all the family's dreams may go up in smoke, and they have to come together and look for their faith to rebuild their home and hearts. So we're getting ready to read this. I need a little drink. This is lemonade. Didn't have any sweet tea today. It's the squeezable bottles that you can buy. I put 7 squirts in here. I want to taste the lemonade. Oh, it's so good. I don't drink lemonade very often, so it's a real big treat. I was sad I didn't have any sweet tea. I could have made some, but to me, there's no tea like Mickey D's. All right, let's get started here. It says, and now, ladies, I'm going to show you the most secret ingredient to making the perfect appliques for your quilts. Charlotte sat at the row of tables in Fabric and Fun with 6 other women who had signed up for Rosemary's Friday afternoon quilting class. She watched her sister-in-law reach into the wicker basket to her and pull out a roll of freezer tape. Julian Benson, seated at the table next to Charlotte, laughed. Freezer tape? Is this a quilting class or a cooking class? Rosemary laughed with her. Charlotte's the cook in our family, but the freezer paper is part of a technique that makes appliques both easy and fun. Charlotte smiled at her compliment about her cooking skills as she began to lay out the quilt blocks on the table. Every member of the class had pieced simple 9-patch blocks. My mom used to do the 9-patch blocks. And now they were learning the technique of appliquing over the piece block. She looked around the table amazed that the same quilt pattern could look so different just by the varieties of color and fabrics selected. Now, how it works. Rosemary began cutting off a small section of freezer paper from the roll. The first step is to trace the shape of the applique onto the dull side of the paper. That's very important for later on. Charlotte watched her trace a heart into the freezer paper with a pencil. Do we need to make room for a seam allowance when we trace? No, we'll do that when we cut out the fabric. Rosemary used her scissors too quickly, cut out heart she just traced into freezer paper. Now comes the fun part, Rosemary continued. Using an iron, gently press the shiny side of the freezer paper cut out onto the wrong side of the fabric that you want to use for the applique. Everyone watched in silence as Rosemary pressed the warm iron on top of the paper heart, fusing it to the red cotton fabric underneath. And there you have it. Rosemary held up the applique. The shiny surface of the freezer paper adhered to the fabric. Now all you have to do is trim around the excess fabric, leaving a 3/8 inch seam allowance around the paper pattern. Simply press the seam allowance around the freezer paper template to create a smooth crease. Then you're ready to tear away the freezer paper and sew the applique to your quilt block. That is easy, Julia exclaimed. Charlotte raised her hand in the air. What is the iron setting? Good question. Amanda Hustler chimed in from the next table. It will depend on the fabric you're using, Rosemary replied. If it's cotton, then set your iron on cotton setting. For the more delicate fabric like satin, you'll need to use a cooler setting. Rosemary tore off several pieces of freezer paper and passed it around to the class members. Now, I'd like each of you to try it. I've got a basket of templates on each table, along with some remnant cotton fabric, so you can practice. Charlotte waited until Julia finished a heart template and a piece of pink fabric out of the basket. Then she selected a duck template and a handkerchief-sized square of orange fabric for herself. Julia leaned over to look at her handiwork. I like the combination of colors you chose for the baby quilt, especially the blues, greens, and purples. Thank you, Charlotte reached out to pull a loose thread off one of the blocks. Bill and Anna made it easier for me to select the colors when they decided to find out ahead of time if they're having a boy or a girl. And Julia prodded. And I can't wait to meet my new grandson, Charlotte said with a wide smile. So they're having a boy, Julia cried. Oh, how exciting. It's technology, something? Amanda chuckled beside them. Just don't count on the technology too much. My great niece had a frilly pinky nursery all ready for a baby after the doctor told her she was going to be a girl. They certainly got a big surprise when the baby boy was born. And my Charlotte said, a boy instead of a girl? Amanda nodded. Good thing the first name they picked out could work for either sex. Instead of Taylor Marie Callahan, the baby's name's Taylor Charles Callahan. He's a little cutie, though. I don't think they mind a bit that they got a different baby than what they expected. Charlotte wouldn't mind either. She knew that God didn't make mistakes, even if technology occasionally did. Still, she hoped technology was right this time because Bill had his heart set on having a boy. As she traced the duck into the freezer paper, she wondered if Pete and Dana planned to have children. She hoped so. Just the thought of a new baby living at Heather's Creek Farm made her smile. Look how far you've come with your quilt. I just looked to see how many pages we had in the chapter. Sorry. Rosemary said as she walked up to Charlotte's table, you must be so excited about your new grandbaby. I am, Charlotte agreed. December's right around the corner, so I'll have just enough time to get the quilt done before the baby arrives. I can't think of a nicer Christmas present than another grandchild. Some people might think she had her hands full with 3 grandchildren she was raising at home, 2 of them teenagers, but Charlotte knew a grandmother could never run short of love. Isn't that the truth? Sounds like you'll be keeping busy, Amanda says. Does that mean you won't be selling any of your pies this year? I have my entire family coming for Thanksgiving, and I was hoping to buy a few of your delicious pies to serve for dessert. Sorry, Charlotte replied. I'm out of pie-making business. She remembered how hectic her life had become last year when she formed the Heather Creek Pie Company to sell her popular homemade pies for the holidays. I remember those days, getting up very, very early in the morning and having to take pie orders and getting them out. Do I miss it? Yeah, I miss it. Her grandchildren had pitched in, and even though the experience had helped them all grow closer, she didn't ever want to put herself under that much pressure again. This year, Charlotte was looking forward to a relaxing Thanksgiving at home with Bob, Pete, and her grandchildren. Bill and his family would be there too, along with Pete's fiancée, Dana, and her parents. It pleased Charlotte that she actually had time to plan a nice dinner. Last year, she'd been so busy with a pie business that she could barely keep up with her daily task. This year promised to be more relaxing. The soybeans had all been cut, and the corn harvest was nearly done. The kids seemed happy, and they were all busy with their school activities. Best of all, a new baby boy, Stevenson, would be arriving for Christmas. As she practiced the freezer paper technique, Charlotte thought about how quickly time moved. It seemed like just yesterday that Denise had shared the news that she was expecting her first baby. Now Sam would be graduating from Bedford High in a few months and then heading off to college. Emily wouldn't be far behind him, leaving Christopher alone with his grandparents as he entered his teenage years. There was no use in contemplating for all the changes the future held. Living for today brought the most joy and the most reward. That a lesson she wanted to teach all her grandchildren, including the one who would soon be wrapped in this baby quilt. Charlotte couldn't wait to meet him. Okay, we're on chapter 2 for next week. Thank you for coming to Tea Tuesday. This is an open collab, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is called Giving Thanks. We'll see you next Tuesday, Tea Tuesday. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. God bless.